All right, guys, a little bit of a different episode today. I just want to talk about how I am a testimony of the Lord. Truly, I really hope what I'm about to say can encourage people to let them know that, like, if you're in a similar season, that like God sees you. And to let know people are like in a similar season to know that like He has your back. And He is here to lift all the weight and pressure off of your life and shoulders. And I hope that like for what I'm about to say, you can relate to and apply this to your life, because I know this is something that like I've had to remind myself in this particular season of my life. And I know how hard it is to deal with a lot of weight and pressure and responsibility that at times that we're just not meant to handle. And we have to really give that to him. I am not a complainer by any means. I think one of my biggest pet peeves of mine is complainers. People just to complain, not in a sense of like people are expressing the way they feel because it's a lot different. But it's like, like people that just complain and not trying to like fix the situation, or just people just talking just to talk. I think it's one of like my biggest pet peeves. Um, I think at times that people can not say things because they don't want to seem like they complain. I know I can fall victim to that as well. I always tell people like I don't say a lot, but I have a lot to say. And that can really show throughout in particular days or seasons of my life where like I can choose to be quiet in certain instances, which is good, because there's a time and a place to say everything. But there are times where I should speak up about something, especially like how I feel. Like I have a bad tendency of keeping a lot of emotions in and like not expressing and being in tune with like my emotions in terms of like having someone help me get in tune with my emotions. And that can also be like with the Lord, like I can push emotions and thoughts away from him that he already knows. I don't know why I do that. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all do that too. But I push that away from people because like I can have pride in my heart at times, like I'll just figure it out myself, or I'll just figure it out with the Lord, right? Whenever like I'm hiding stuff from him. But I know how easy it is to put yourself in a position to where like you're bottling up all these emotions, all these responsibilities, all this pressure that you put on yourself, and especially like strong emotions and feelings that you need to just talk about. And we just don't do it. And over time, that builds up and that builds up and that builds up, and that can lead to frustration, like really like real like strong anger, and even rebellion. In terms of my case, I know, like for me, I do a lot. I'm in a season right now where I have two jobs. I have a podcast. I make a lot of talking head content. I serve at church. I serve at children's ministry. I do a lot, and like that's I can keep going down the list, and that's not to for me like that's not complaining. That's just the reality of like my life. Um, and sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to just get by. Like at the end of the day, like you have to do what you have to do to get by in life. Like you have responsibilities as an adult, you have responsibility as a man, you have responsibility as a woman. But I know at times I can really fall victim to just like really allowing myself to have to do it all on my own and not allowing people to pour into me when they want to. It's not in a sense I don't want people to pour into me. It's just in a sense it's like I can shut people off at times without me knowing, and that could be a real detriment to my life. And over the course of the last couple of months, I've been just working so hard to just get to particular like destinations in my life, or like have a particular outcome at a time that like I can't reach on my own, or I haven't reached on my own. And that can be very discouraging. That can be very frustrating. And that can also lead to very envious thoughts, very vanity spirits. And like you can go on and on and on. I really struggle with comparison at times. I think a lot of people that struggle with comparison, and you yourself probably struggle with comparison. We just don't talk about that enough. And I think it's very easy to fall into that mindset of like, oh man, like the Lord loves that person more, the Lord is blessing that person more, like X, Y, and D, all the things that you get into your head. And I know I had to let a lot of thoughts get into my head the last couple of months. And what I was allowing to happen was strongholds to build in my mind. And whenever you allow a stronghold to be like really fester, you really, really believe that's true. I used to really think that the Lord was so mad at me, the Lord hated me, like he was blocking off blessings from me. And you can go on and on and on. And that led to like a lot of unworthy thoughts, a lot of Lord, I'm not enough. You have the wrong person. Like, why are you after me? Like, all these things, right? I think there's a lot of things that we can feel as believers all the time that we don't want to talk about because we want to keep like a perception that like we do have it all together. And I at times can fall fault. I can like be at fault with this because I know like me, especially as a follower of Christ, especially doing like things that I do, I want to keep a perception in terms of like you can come to me like with something and like I will have the answer, or like you can come to me and I have overcome, or like and things like that. I don't know how to like necessarily explain it, but it's like I don't want a perception of like I'm a believer that you can't come to somebody or you can't come to something. I don't want the perception of like you can't come to me about something. Because I want to like be a spiritual leader in a lot of ways. Um, but I know that looks different for everybody else. But even myself at times, like I want to pour into so many things. I'm not allowing myself to be poured into. I'm in this season right now where I'm just like doing, doing, doing. Like, I'm doing so much. And like at the end of the day, it's like that's not like essentially wrong. But it's like if you're not careful, and like myself, I wasn't careful, like and I was doing this without knowing. Like if you're not careful, you can really miss out on like what the Lord actually has for you. It's hard for you to actually step into his fullness. And for me, this really led to a lot of rebellion, like and like unintentional and intentional rebellion, to be transparent. Like I was so frustrated, mad at the world about a lot of things. And like it was really more innately because I'm mad at myself. I hate myself at times. Like we have a commandment to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So it's really hard to do that when you don't love yourself as much. Like, because we don't love ourselves as much as we think we do. So it's hard to love other people sometimes. And love the world sometimes. But like I feel like I really struggle with giving myself the grace that I give other people, and that frustrates me a lot at times. Um, I talk to my mentor about this all the time. It's like I don't know why I can do all these things for so many other people. I can pray for them. I can lead Bible studies. I can like do this, like make content right. I can mentor people. I can do all X, Y, and Z, right? But it's like I can never just like do that for myself at times. And that is really exhausting. It is very frustrating because it's like I want to grow. Like I've said it before, like my biggest desires in this life is to first and foremost be the man of God He's called me to be a husband and a father. And it's hard to do those things if you don't have a desire to read, like you don't have a desire to pray, like you don't have a desire to like do that. Like for me, like I personally like make videos or like plan out all this stuff. Like I had for a long time no like real desire to do those things. And I didn't understand why, and that frustrated me. And I felt like whenever I did pray, he wasn't answering. Whenever I did read, I didn't understand. Whenever I did make videos, it didn't make sense. I just felt very empty in a lot of the stuff that I was doing. And even at times, like I be at fault with that now, but it's like because like when you miss out on the plot, you know how people say like you miss the plot now. Like when you miss out on like what you're actually called to do, or like what you're actually supposed to be doing for the Lord. It's like yes, like go out there and like be loving and like show love like Jesus is supposed to show love, preach the gospel, and like do whatever like the Lord has given you to do in your life, right? But like if you don't get to a spot where you're not receiving as much as you're pouring, your cup's just gonna be empty. And that at times led to me just like running back to sins that the Lord has delivered me from, or just complete rebellion. And it was out of just anger. Like I was so mad at the world, and like to be transparent, I was so mad at God because I was like, "You're not answering me. You're blessing all these other people. You're doing X, Y, and D. I know you hate me. I know you like allowing all these strongholds to build up in my head, and I'm running away from the Lord because I don't deem myself as worthy." And I'm getting emotional because it's like I told my mentor this. I was like, I have tried to run away so many times. I've ran back to sin at times on purpose and at times on accident. I've tried to run away because I said, you have the wrong person. I can't do what you're asking me to do. What can I bring to the table? Or whatever it is, right? I can keep going on and on and on. But he just wouldn't let me go. he just wouldn't let me go. And I didn't understand why, because I have such a desire at times for perfection. And I obviously won't be perfect until I'm called up out of this body. But like I have such a desire to just be perfect. And that's why I feel like I have that desire just to go home. If you don't know what I mean like in going home is like into heaven. But it's like I have such a desire to be perfect. I just want to go home. But like knowing that I'll never be perfect until I'm called up out of this body, that frustrates me at times. And I could just not give myself the grace and the patience that I give other people. And the Lord's really called me to just take a step back from like a lot of stuff and just look at like what He's asking me to do and stop putting all this pressure and stop putting all this responsibility on my shoulders that I'm not meant to bear. And obviously, yes, like I have things I have to take care of. Like I said, at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you gotta work two jobs, you gotta work two jobs. You gotta do all this stuff, right? But it's like there's just so much that like I was just not giving to Him. I was not going to Him about, and I was not allowing Him to transform my heart, allowing Him to transform my mind, because I was hardening my heart to His grace and love because I thought I didn't deserve that. At the end of the day, none of us deserve it, but it's a gift that is freely given. That's what grace is. It's like I deserve one thing, but He gives me another. And I all I have to say is just thank you, Jesus. There's three simple words. And I'm just so thankful that like He has allowed me to grow in this season and understand that like I need to just take a step back and I need to soften my heart. And I couldn't do that without Him. Because like you don't have you don't have the strength to do that on your own. Like you can change your mind. That's what repentance is. Like you can change your mind, and when you change your mind, you that allows Him to be able to step in to change your heart. And my heart is just open to Him now, and I've already felt a lot of that weight and pressure, and like you can probably see there's like a new countenance and like the way I'm speaking, the way I look, the way I'm carrying myself. I'm just taking a step back, and at the end of the day, it's like He has it all figured out. I can't control the things I can't control. I can't figure this stuff out on my own. And I have just allowed Him to do what He needs to do. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like essentially at times. And that can be scary for sure. Let's be honest. Like that can be scary and that can lead to anxiety. But that's another thing. Just give it to Him and allow Him to just do stuff like that. And I'm just very thankful that He has put me in a position to like where I can be doing this right now. Like right now I am 10 subscribers. I don't know where this podcast is gonna go. I really don't know. And at the end of the day, like God will do what He wants to do with this podcast, regardless if it's 10 people, who I'm so thankful for. I'm very, very glad that y'all are here. Or 100 or 1,000 or 100,000. I don't know what this looks like. And at the end of the day, like as long as I'm obedient to what He has and faithful with what I have right now, like we said last, if you don't steward a little, you won't be able to steward a lot. He's gonna bless that. And I don't know what that looks like in terms of my life. But I know He has it all taken care of. And allowing Him to do that just takes so much weight off of my shoulders. And I just hope what this season of my life has done, that it can encourage you to know that He has all under control. And if you are in a season right now where you feel you're stretched very thin, like you're working very hard, you feel like you're not getting the results you want, whether that be through occupation, whether that be through a romantic relationship, or whether that be your relationship with God, just know that He has it all under control. And sometimes even when you don't feel Him, that's the closest He is to you. And when you don't feel like it, pray anyway. When you don't feel like it, read anyway, and trust Him. Like, and this is something I have to tell myself, and I'm allowing myself to be held accountable for through people in my life. So I ask you to do the same thing. It's just we serve a God that cares about us. He has our best intentions at heart, and I really, really hope that as you continue to grow in your relationship with Him, He will reveal Himself to you in ways that only you would understand, and that would motivate you to just give Him everything. That would motivate you to just go out there and tell other people how you are a testimony of the Lord. I'm very, very glad that I've been able to share this with you. And also, with all this being said, uploads will not be every Wednesday and Friday anymore. I think this is just something that needs to be done for me in particular. But it'll be every Friday. Every Friday, this will allow me to be more intentional and provide the best content I can for you guys. And it doesn't make you feel like I have to rush out something because of the busy schedule I have. But my schedule should be getting a little less, a little bit easier now. The Lord has called me to just take a break from a lot. but the contest's still coming. Just every Friday, not every Wednesday and Friday now. So I will not be here next week. I'm going to Colorado. Oh my gosh, it's cooler weather. I love Texas, but it's gonna be nice to be in like the 60s and the 70s weather. But that just went right over somebody else's head. Yeah, with all that being said, if you haven't already, remember, please don't forget to leave a show rating. Let me know how you feel about me talking to this colorful microphone. And also, don't forget to turn on post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that we're doing at Late Biting Win Show. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. And I will see y'all soon. Y'all have a blessed night, day, or wherever you are. See you later.